One of the most common things that I get asked is, why is it so hard to stick to keto? Like, why do we fall when we know exactly what to do? And it's hard for people to understand that the way that we think about food determines what we do with our food. There are two books. There are two books that I read that had a profound impact on my view of food. And, well, of food companies more specifically. The ideas that we have about what's good to eat come from people who actually intend to harm us. And it was like I read these two, but I'm not all the way through Salt, Sugar, Fat. But even from the half I think I'm through right now that I've read, it's obvious that, so making money, high on the list, making the cheapest possible product towards making the biggest profit, high on the list, but also making a food that is so delicious that I can't stop eating it, very high on the list. So they want us to buy the product, and they don't care about our health. They actually don't care about our health. Now, we want to be accepted, right? Seen as normal, and we want to be like part of the group. If you think about high school, how hard it was for the people that didn't have a friend group, didn't have their core people. Even in the work world, when you go to work, if you don't have people that you spend time with, it's horrible, right? It's normal to be accepted and to be seen as like everybody else, but also it's part of our makeup. We are social beings, and we want to be accepted and be part of the group. And so in our work world, in our friend group, if we are doing something that's extremely different, like eating a keto diet, well, then we can't go out to eat with everybody else, and we're a pain to have at parties, and we're frustrating to throw, whenever we're invited over, if they actually care about us and want us to have something to eat, we're causing problems. So a lot of the times, what do? We pull back and we say, "Oh, make whatever you're going to make. I'll figure it out." But a lot of the times figuring it out means, well, I just go and I eat what's there, right? Because we want food that tastes good as well, right? And we again, if I don't eat what they're eating, I feel different. If I don't eat what they're eating and I'm eating something that they think falls in lines with what is healthy for me, usually they're not going to make as delicious as I make it. It's not going to taste good. Or they're going to give me a lean cut of something. I don't eat lean meat. So, because they don't understand what I'm doing. What tastes good differs from one part of the world to another. And I want to bring this up because I think that we allow ourselves to believe that the only thing that tastes good is what we've been told tastes good, which is fun food. So now we're talking about things like desserts, right? Like it's natural, it's normal. Everybody eats dessert. Not true, but this is what we're told. But in China, what dessert looks like is different than, Russia, different than what it looks like in Africa, different parts of the world have different flavor profiles, and therefore it's going to taste different. So what tastes good to them might not taste good to me, right? I'm not going to like it. So then does it mean that, I think what I want us to take away from this is that our surroundings play such a huge role in what's normal. And then what we're being told about what's normal to do plays such a huge role in what we actually eat that when we are being told something that's not true, or at least not true for us anyways, because I'm being told that everybody eats this thing, but I grew up in a household where dessert wasn't a thing. So not everybody does that, but I'm being made to believe that I have to. Now, what makes it worse is that we have things like the Canada Food Guide and whatever guide that you have in your country, the Food and Drug Administration, food guides, doctors, nutritionists, trainers, all telling us what we're supposed to eat to be healthy, supposedly. But do these foods help us to stay healthy? And we're lucky that these foods that they tell us to eat tend to taste good. But is that part of the problem? One thing that I was found really frustrating is that they say things like snacking is good for you, even though doctors are helping us to understand that snacking isn't good for us. So no matter, one of the things on that bugs me is that they say that snacking for children is healthy because it's going to help their little stomachs to be able to get enough of the good quality stuff to help them to grow, right? Because they couldn't possibly eat enough at a meal to grow their little body. So first of all, can I just point out that what we're really saying is that the body that we are born with cannot accommodate the amount of food that we need to grow us. We gotta stuff in more. That's not true. The body that we're born with can absolutely do that. Now, here's what's stupid. I'm going to feed my kid a meal. They're going to come back to me after eating the garbage that I fed them for a meal and say, I'm hungry. And then I'm going to give them a snack. And what do we tend to give our kids for snacks? We're going to give them fruit if we're being healthy. Or we'll let them have cookies because they ate their garbage supper. But then when they don't grow, we're blaming their tiny tummies. We're okay with snacking, right? That's why we think snacking is healthy, because we're okay with it. And it doesn't matter what regime of eating that we're doing, there's always room for snacks and dessert, right? Even on Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig, they left room for snacks and desserts. And then we have our little people that are trying to grow, and we teach them that snacks and desserts are what they're supposed to be. It's not true. And it, unfortunately, isn't healthy. So, we're social. And that's natural for us. We want to connect. We want acceptance. Being different isn't just hidden. It's punished. Right? We put negative labels on people who don't conform. Right? If you have trouble sitting still at school, you have ADHD. And then if you have ADHD, you have to go to special class. And if you have to go to special class while the other kids make fun of you. And it's not just ADHD. Like maybe you're struggling with academics. You have a learning disorder. And again, the focus is on you being different. Not maybe do we ever stop and think about the school system that we have our kids in that take children who are supposed to run around and play and put them to sit for inordinate amounts of time. And even at home, if you pay attention to your kids at home, so they don't have school today, it's a Saturday, they're at home, how much time does your child spend sitting in one spot? All right, talking about a kid 10 and under. How much time does that kid stay sitting in one spot? But in school, that's the expectation. And even if your kid went to daycare and went into elementary school at the right time, under 10, they still don't just sit for hours in one spot. If you don't like sports, well, you're lazy, right? Couldn't be that maybe you like reading Or maybe you like art, or maybe you like activities that use more creativity in your mind than just using your body. No, you're lazy. We have a tendency to decide that if you're not doing the popular thing, there's something wrong with you. And so therefore, if you weigh more than your typical weight for your height, of course you're overweight, and now you're being called fat, and now you're being made fun of at school. But even the disgusting part is in the work world. Yes, I've heard people say things about people, and I'm just like, are you an adult? And even as adults, we still do this garbage behavior. And what does that do to the overweight person, right? We are led to believe we are defective, and we hide our defects instead of actively looking for solutions. We don't want to admit to being on a diet. Even if we're on a diet, even if we do the diet and the diet works, even when we do the diet and we get back to our good weight, we don't want to talk about the fact that we were on a diet, because that reminds us that we were overweight at one point. We don't want to talk about that, right? Because that made me the outlier. That made me strange. That made me... Can we stop and truly look at the fact that today it's more typical in North America to be overweight than to be at your correct weight? And yet still we talk about people who are overweight as if there's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with what we are being told about food. So when we struggle with our weight, heaven forbid that someone knows that I'm trying to lose weight and it's not working. Heaven forbid. Because if they figure out that I'm trying to lose trying to lose weight and it's not working, something as simple as weight loss, right? And so this is the other problem. We are made to believe that because something can be explained simply, it's easy. That's not true. So, in order to walk across a tightrope, all you need to do is put one foot in front of the other and balance yourself. Simple enough. But is it easy to do? Have you ever tried? I've seen people who cannot walk across, you know, not the full sidewalk, but when you have that little small sidewalk beside the grass? I've seen people who can't walk across that. Adults. They fall off. A tightrope is so obviously it's not easy to do. It's not even easy to do when the thing you're trying to walk across is about a good, 5 to 7 centimeters wide. It's not because it's simple to explain. But we've been led to believe that weight loss is all about calorie count, exercise. If you do the math, you're not going to have any problems. Even doctors who discuss keto still talk about calories being important. It drives me crazy because I know for a fact that I was losing weight, eating more calories than I'd ever eaten in my life because the carb count was so low. I know for a fact that many of my meals today are more calories than what I was eating when I was trying to lose weight, and I'm maintaining my weight. Now, I'm not going to say that I never have a meal that's under. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm just not hungry. But most of my meals are over. Why? Because Dr. Fung pointed out to us that our body does not understand calories. It understands energy. And the energy that my body will be able to use from fat Well, most of it gets to use. The energy that my body can use from carbohydrates is much. So even though carbohydrates is giving me energy, my body can't use it because when it comes in excessive amounts, my body has to do what? Put it away as fat. The same thing I'm trying to get off my body, I'm eating something that increases the amount on my body. Wellness Warrior. If we're confused about food, we will make mistakes because our ideas about food determine our actions. So when we think calories matter, we open the door to a low calorie count, allowing us to choose an unhealthy option. And if I don't care about the nutritional value of the food I'm about to put in my mouth, and what happens is that I'm going to put something in my mouth that's not helping my body. If I'm only interested in low calorie count, I'm going to have devastating results on my health. Right? If we look at these three images, we have three things on the screen that are 200 calories of energy, right? If I eat one of those bars or 34 grams of Brazil nuts or 54 grams of cheddar cheese, I have about 220 calories. But Wellness Warrior is the nutritional value of those foods. So those snacks, because, right? Snacking is healthy. So I want to go with what the Canadian food guide is telling us. Snacking is healthy. As long as you choose the right snacks, snacking is healthy. But people are choosing bars like this because 1 gram of sugar, right? We're going to talk about that in a second. It has to be healthier, right? And it's quick and it's portable and it's keto friendly because it's 1 gram of sugar. It's another frustration I have because when you turn over the packages and you look up these foods, they all have 220 grams of calories, in them. But that bar only has 9 grams of fat. The good energy that my body would be able to use all of it, compared to the Brazil nuts having 24 grams of fat and the cheese having 18 grams of fat. More energy and better quality. Well, now here's the other thing. What kind of oils are in that bar? Right? Are they all the healthy oils? Okay, question marks. But you can find some of these bars that actually have the healthy oils, so I'm going to give them credit for that. I don't remember if this one is one of them. I'm going to pause there because I don't know for sure. But then we turn around and that bar has 20 grams of protein, which sounds amazing. The Brazil nuts only has 4.8 grams of protein, and the cheddar cheese only has 12.3 grams of protein. So it's beating us on the protein, we would think. However, quality protein. What type of protein is it? Now, if we're lucky, it's going to be whey, which is coming from animal. But if we're not lucky, a lot of these bars have pea protein and plant-based proteins that are not helping my body the way that animal proteins will help. But even whey protein isn't a protein that's going to give me what eating a steak would give me because it's been processed. Right? And whenever we process something, it's changed. But now let's look at the lovely 1 gram of sugar that they've written on the packaging. When you turn it over, it's 23 grams of carbohydrate. Well, wait a minute. Carbohydrate, sugar are 2 words for the same thing. So how do we get 1 gram? Oh, if you read the fine print, it's 1 gram of added sugar. Did I need the added sugar? Not at all. The Brazil nuts have 1.4 grams of carbohydrates, sugar. The cheese has 1.8 grams of carbohydrates, sugar. That bar has 23 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of it being added sugar, 8 grams of it being fiber. It's still way more than the cheese or the Brazil nuts, which, Wellness Warrior, would give you a much better quality of energy, sustain you longer because there's fat, quality fat in there, and help us to build a proper, healthy body. But we're being told that snacking is fine as long as you choose the right snacks. And those are the good snacks, right? Because truth of the matter is a lot of people will eat an apple or a banana or some kind of fruit that's mostly sugar and very little fat. Is that helping them in that moment? Is that what their body needed? Because their body's asking them for energy. And if we look at it from that perspective, well, the energy you just gave me, I'm not going to get to use most of it because my body's going to put it away as fat. So this healthy snack of fruit or cereals, granola or bars or get mostly put away because when we turn over that package and we see that there's 23 grams of carbs, even though there's fat in that bar, right? How much fat was it? Let me double check. There was 9 grams of fat in that bar. We don't get access to the fat either because when my body's in storage mode, it's in storage mode, as we learned from Dr. Fung, and it puts everything away. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Well, it's because we don't seem to understand that the quality of the food matters. And we don't understand this because we're being told that. We're told by food companies that these cereals are heart healthy, that these bars are just as good as vegetables and meat. We are told that, and so we believe it. The composition of the food matters a heck of a lot more than the calorie count. If we look at the composition of the nuts or the composition of the cheese, it's actually fat first, followed by protein, followed by carb. In that order, because we need energy and we need building blocks and we don't need sugar, so there's very little of it there. If I would have really wanted to do well for myself on that snack, I would have had maybe some bacon or some eggs or a sausage or maybe just had a meal instead of having a snack, because if I'm actually hungry, that's what I do. Is snacking healthy for us? No. But we're told this by who? By the Canadian Food Guide. It's saying snacking is healthy. It's not. It rises your insulin and leads you towards insulin resistance. You would hope that the Canadian Food Guide would know that, but they're telling us snacking is healthy. They're telling us it's healthy for our children because they have teeny tiny stomachs. Wellness Warrior, be concerned when you see things like this. Because when the nutritional value is removed through processing, because we lose a lot of our nutritional value from our food when we process it, but then we turn around, we add excessive amounts of sugar so that it can taste proper again, and chemicals keep it shelf stable. If you think about it, healthy foods that do well for my body, I can't keep them forever. I can't keep a piece of cheese for a year. It's not good anymore. I can't keep nuts for a year. They'll get moldy. Why? Because they're real foods, and real foods get eaten, if not by me, by the other living microorganisms that live with us that will eat it if I don't get to it fast enough. So those chemicals and that added sugar absolutely impact your body, damage your body, and so therefore the value of that food is changed. Food. I hate calling that stuff food. I hate calling it food because in my mind, it's just processed garbage. That the scary part is food companies are not expecting the garbage that they sell us to improve our health. After reading Food, What the Heck Should I Eat? And then by Mark Hyman and Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Moss, I learned that food companies have been using science not to improve the quality of the food so that we can be healthier, stronger people. No. To find ways to addict us to their product so that we would eat more and more of it. They want us not just to buy it and like it. They want us to buy it, like it, and overeat it. That piece of information, which repeats because everywhere I look, I see it. That piece of information is one of the reasons that I started making videos for you guys. Because we're being lied to. The companies that pay to have heart healthy on their food know it's not healthy. The company that puts that check on the food, so the government organization, know it's not healthy. So the doctors, nurses, nutritionists, dietitians, trainers, I think they're drinking the same Kool-Aid that we're drinking. I think that they really do believe that the things that they're being taught, because it's coming down the pipeline, right? I think they believe that they're actually helping us. They believe these things that they're telling us. Until. See, I get frustrated because when we move from talking about what we learned and then try to move into making products to help people do what we're talking about, somehow the money changes us. And we have these bars. I've even heard of bars being made by people who were keto, so the owner knowingly allowing ingredients into the bar that made it no longer keto friendly and lying about it. And that scared me. But even when it's on the packaging, the way that it's packaged, that makes it look like it's one thing. But if you, knowing that we don't turn over the packages and read the ingredients, read the nutrition labels, make it look all healthy on the box. But then when we turn it over, if we actually read what's in it, we're horrified. Talking about normal food for a second, when you look at the way they market juices to children and to parents, talking about the healthy fruits they've used to make these juices, but then to find out in Salt, Sugar, Fat that the juice in the juices isn't juice. It's the extracted sugar. So you're not even getting the whole fruit, just the extracted sugar. Wellness warriors, they're robbing us. They're robbing us of our money. They're robbing us of our health. They're robbing us of our children's health. And we should be offended. And we need to stop giving them our money. We need to stop giving them our money. Because children, they eat like us. Right? They eat what we eat. We feed them what we eat because we think we're being healthy. And so they're learning that protein bars and shakes are just as healthy as meat and vegetables. And in some cases, they're learning that they're healthier than meat. It's not true. As a matter of fact, it's more than not true. It's dangerous for our kids to think this way. because they're growing up allowing themselves to pass an entire day where no real food enters their body. They'll go to a Starbucks and have a coffee or a chocolate milk or whatever and a donut. And then they'll turn around and at lunchtime they'll have pizza. And then they'll turn around and at supper have, what do you call those? Pot pie from the freezer or a pogo or a whatever garbage food. That's none of it was real. For the entire day, none of it was real food. And their health is suffering for it. Our kids, they're overweight, right? They have medical issues due to their weight. And we are looking at this and we're blaming it. A lot of us blame it on video games. I remember hearing a lot of parents saying, "Oh, the kids play too many video games. They're not playing outside enough. That's why they're so overweight." That's not true. 80% of weight, regardless of your age, is what you're eating. And can I just remind everybody, even though kids are overweight, they still play, they still run around, they still go out. Right? Now, do I think that every kid should be on video games all the time? No. But do I think that's the sole reason? No. They're doing what we do. They're eating the same garbage that we eat. Our weight is out of control. Why are we surprised that our kids' weight is out of control? And the only way to truly change this is to take an honest look at where our ideas about foods come from, about what we consider healthy come from. Right? Because the calories that we focus on puts the blame on us for not managing what we eat better. When companies are fully aware that carb count matters more than calorie count. One thing that frustrated me when I was looking at packaging is that the carb count is, so carbohydrates are surrounded by, the way that the labels are set up is I really have to actively read lines to find carbohydrate. Calorie is bold and showing. It's it's larger than everything else, bold and showing. Why isn't carbohydrate bold and showing? I mean, if they really believe that what we should be paying attention to is calorie, fine, but why can't calorie, carb, protein, and fat be bolded so it's easy to find on the packaging? Nope. Those are written in the same type of fine print as the rest of the things, so they're hard to pull out, right? Again, companies know that we're lazy and we're going to turn it over, and if the first thing we see is calories, the calories look low, we're going to be happy with that answer. And we are not going to dig deeper to see that, first of all, you said there was only 1 gram of sugar in this product, but 23 grams of carbs, 18 of it fiber. Well, that means that there's a bunch of sugar in this product, doesn't it? Now, not added sugar, but there's still sugar in this product. And did you know that you can actually digest fiber depending on what kind of fiber it is? So even having the fiber there to subtract might not help me if I should have left it in, because it's the kind of fiber that my body can actually digest. Wellness warriors, if we're going to change any of this, we need to understand where our ideas about food come from. We need to understand that carbs matter more than calories, because calories are actually irrelevant. Our body has no clue about calories. It doesn't care how many calories are in something. It cares how many carbs, and it cares that it's energy. And we don't even get to use the calories from those carbohydrates as energy, because our body throws them into storage because they're dangerous for us. Do we see where we are being lied to? If you knew for sure that carbs were the real health threat, would you allow your kids to eat them? Would you allow your kids to eat that much junk food if you knew 100% that that was the problem? See, we know the answer to that because we don't allow children to drink because we know it's addictive. We say no to that. And if we were being told the truth about the addictive quality of carbohydrates, we wouldn't allow our children to have large amounts of sugar. We wouldn't allow our children to have pancakes with syrup, which is equivalent to birthday cake, right? They're both cake. They both have sweet stuff on top of them. Right? We wouldn't allow our kids to have waffles. We don't allow our kids to have ice cream, but somehow pancakes and waffles and toaster strudel and Pop-Tarts for breakfast, chocolatines and croissants, which is a croissant stuffed chocolate, are okay. Like, it drives me crazy that I will see people feeding their kids chocolatines and saying it's a croissant. No, it's not. And even a croissant, it's still a croissant. It's still high sugar, but it's a chocolate. So a croissant with chocolate in it for breakfast. It drives me crazy. If we knew this, though, if everybody was being transparent and honest about this, what would happen? Well, our health would improve, but food companies would lose money. And when food companies lose money because our health is improving, well, then doctors and pharma lose money, right? I'm going to say pharma more so than doctors, because again, who's doing the research? It's pharma. Doctors are being fed the answer. Although, yes, doctors would have a little bit less work, but no, I think the work would just shift. Do I think that eating healthy will solve 100% of the world's medical issues? No, not at all. Do I think that doctors would still have work? Yes, because we still need annual checkups. We still need other medical interventions that are not life-saving, right? Doctors would still work. Pharmaceutical companies would sell less, though, but doctors would still have their clients, would still be. Can you imagine how easy a doctor's life would be if every year to 6 months, depending on what kind of plan people have, their client comes in, they get weighed, they get blood work done, everything's lovely. That's an easy job for me as a doctor. Like, my dentist loves me. I go, I get my checkup. Hey, thumbs up. I leave. We do this once a year. Oh, they clean my teeth. Yeah, they clean my teeth, right? But every year we do the same thing. Why? Hey, great job, Violet. You're eating, you're brushing well, you're flossing well. Yay. It makes their life easy. She gets paid the same regardless, right? The people that would lose money are the food companies and the pharmaceutical companies. They're the ones that will lose money. And we need to evaluate the success that we're trying to have against the ways we try to get success, right? I feel like the part that's really a frustration is that we have these ideas that we try to apply, and we're not sure why they're not working. But so if I believe the lie I'm being told that it's all about calories and carbohydrates don't matter, and you could cycle in and out of keto because it doesn't matter, right? Like once you're at your good weight, you start eating carbs again, and then you come. I'm not taking into consideration the health portion of any of this. So when we're trying to apply what we're being told to a real world scenario, does it play out? So, for example, does eating low calorie, low fat result in sustained weight loss and management? And the answer to that is no, right? But then how do we explain that people who do keto or carnivore lose weight and keep it off, right? Well, as long as they keep doing keto and carnivore. And that's the explanation, because they keep doing it. Okay, but wait a minute. Why is it that people who do a typical diet, low fat, low calorie, can't continue? And here's the thing, Wellness Warrior. If what I'm doing to lose the weight isn't healthy, my body is fighting me the entire way. And so I'm trying to lose weight and I'm pushing my body in a direction. My body is pushing back. And even if I succeed at losing the weight, so I get down to like my goal weight, now to maintain this, my body's still fighting me. My body is sending me hunger signals. My body is saying, get me food. Or my body is diminishing the amount of energy it's using, which leads to what? Weight gain. So either I go eat food, I gain weight, or I slow down, right? And that's what we see happening. That we get to goal and then we give up because I want food. I want to eat. I'm hungry. And they go and they eat. And typically they eat normal food. Now, most people that are doing this, they've either gotten to goal or they weren't getting to goal because their body was fighting them really hard and they were just not getting to goal. They give up. But when you have people who are doing a keto diet, they give up for different reasons, right? They give up because they want to eat the garbage again, right? It's rare to hear somebody say they gave up keto because they was too hungry if they were doing keto correctly or carnivore. If they were doing it correctly, it's rare to hear them say they gave up because they were hungry. They gave up because they wanted to eat garbage again. And today's video is about helping you to understand that it is actually garbage, that it is not quality food for your body, and therefore you wanting to eat this thing is what's going to cause you to not succeed. The reason that you don't succeed is you have these ideas in your head about what is healthy and not healthy, what we're supposed to be eating, and this desire to be like everybody else, which is normal. It's part of being human. We want community. That part's normal. What's not normal is the lie that we're told that allows us to sit around meal tables during holidays and birthdays and events and eat crap. We eat the stuff that is hurting our bodies. So, $200 years ago, 300 years ago, there weren't people trying to lose weight. It wasn't a thing. We were trying to be healthy, right? Before we invented processed foods that spun all of our weight out of control, the focus was on eating healthy food to feed and fuel our bodies, right? When we didn't know how to preserve things, how to make things last forever, then what we were doing was trying to eat enough, right? Not lose weight. It's insulting to me when people talk about this being the way it's always been, because it's not. Our great-grandparents mostly were at a good weight, mostly. It was odd for people to be overweight. And now today, we don't know what healthy food is. We don't, right? We think processed garbage is healthy food. And I want us to get back to nutrient-rich foods to improve our health. And I want us to focus on finding fun elsewhere. Because, Wellness Warrior, the thoughts you have determine what you actually do. If you let yourself think that eating is fun and for fun, then you will keep eating garbage. But if you allow yourself to understand that eating is a process that I do to give my body energy and to give my body building blocks so that in the next 7 to 10 years that it takes to rebuild a body, I'm making sure that I'm giving my body the quality it needs to build the best structures possible. Eating processed foods means that I'm giving my body processed garbage to build me. I need you to like tattoo that on your brain. Eating processed foods means I'm giving my body garbage to build me. What I want to do is give my body quality, real, whole foods to build me. And honestly, even if you're not doing a keto lifestyle, if you just do that one thing, your health will improve. If everything you eat is vegetables, meat, and like not processed food, your body will be healthier, right? As soon as we start adding in processed packaged foods, we're trusting a company more than we're able to trust our eyes that this is actually healthy for me, right? The truth is, if I take up an apple and I eat that apple, I know exactly what it is. It's an apple. Still engineered by scientists, because the apples we eat today are not what they used to be. But I still know that at least it's an apple that came from a tree that was grown. There's no chemicals, I hope, in it. I eat a packaged food. Even when they tell you that there's no chemicals in it, we have learned through many lawsuits that there were chemicals, that there was more sugar than they were admitting to, that there were all kinds of lies being told because they can hide it in the packaging, right? Wellness warrior, let's find fun elsewhere, because when you find fun elsewhere, your health will improve. When you eat healthy foods, your health will, when you believe in your ability to eat healthy foods, your health will improve. And it starts with understanding that these packaged foods that they're telling us are equivalent to whole foods is not true. And secondly, if I'm eating for fun, I'm harming myself. I'm doing what they want me to do, but I'm harming myself. So will I fit in? Of course I will. I'll go to the party and I'll eat the cookies and the chips and the ice cream and I'm going to fit in because everybody is making this mistake. But is that really what I want to do? I want you to want to eat the healthy food and then enjoy time with your friends. Go bowling, go rock climbing, go for a walk, right? Go see a movie and drink water. Like, do things rather than eat with people for fun. Now, I have a video that I'll link in the description and at the end card that talks about choosing healthy food. And I want you to watch that video because it, again, talks about the fact that we're not fully aware why we choose what we choose. Wellness warriors, let's get out there, live our life, have fun, enjoy yourself. That way that you can eat healthy and not feel that you're deprived, right? We need to understand these ideas about food. So let's do that. I'll talk to you on Monday for the next live stream. And enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Talk soon.